What follows is a recitation of everything that brought me to her door and who I really am. Or, well, all that I know about myself. My life as a thief, breaking into Alfonsi's restaurant, the grotesque banquet, and my botched escape. How Father Xander found me and how he asked me to help her. How I was in hiding. I even told her that I don't even know what my real name is. That Private Wayne Doe never existed. That I could only remember the last 10 years. During which time... Wait a minute! If it's been 10 years, and he doesn't know how old he is... Music, please, please, please. Claudia was like 19 in 2019. So that'd be 2014. He came into consciousness when she was 14! Just for context. Every new CG gets wider. It's just like Unk, who got smaller and more like Kailu. Wynn gets broader. During which time I was just hopping from one identity to another, making sure never to leave behind any kind of impression or footprint. Nothing that could prove I was ever there. That I'd ever lived. But the hardest part to tell her was how living with her and Malcolm had changed me. I don't know exactly when it started, but ever since living with you and Malcolm, I felt different. Also, because we're in a maximum or high attachment and honesty, it doesn't have to do any edge cases and branches here. Like, I belong there. In that house. With Malcolm. With you. It isn't just that I feel like I belong. I'm happy being around you. Seeing you smile. Seeing you happy has become important to me. More important than anything I've ever thought about. I want to protect your smiles. I just don't know how else to say it. I just want to see you hurt anymore. I finally reached the end of what I could think to say. It felt like it took hours to get through everything, and by the end, I felt like I was going to throw up. Looking at Claudia to gauge her reaction doesn't really help matters. It appears to be taking a fair amount of time to process this. Meanwhile, I'm shaking like a leaf in a hurricane as I wait for her to respond. Eventually, though, she lets out a heavy sigh. Man, what is going on with her arm? I like the hand-holding, though. But you're hand-holding in the house of the Lord, goddammit! Also, because of how she's positioned, she's technically taller than him, I think. No, it's a little bit of height she gained from that. But still. Also, why does her tail have this extra upper line? Her tail is a flat circle, not like a pudgy thing. Although I guess it is pushing against the back wall. Suddenly I feel her arm wrap around mine and she leans into me. She doesn't speak, but her hand finds her way to mine and our fingers intertwine together. I feel as if my heart is ready to leap out of my chest as she nuzzles against me. Thank you, Wynn. It can't be easy having to tell me all that, let alone living through it. But here you are, still alive. I think I owe you an explanation, Wynn. Something I should have done a long while ago. If you don't mind listening. Yeah, go ahead. Claudia takes a deep breath and begins. You probably already know by now, or at least can guess, that my parents were strict. They didn't allow me to interact with anything that didn't meet their approval. Playtime was wasted time. No unconstructive hobbies. Friends were only allowed if I could bring something out of them. They were particularly adverse to me interacting with any boys! It's the boys! The way they raised me didn't prepare me at all for a life without them telling me what to do. I've always wanted to be a nurse or a doctor. Even when I was really little, I wanted to save lives, help people. Maybe because my dream of being a doctor was the one thing of mine that my parents actually let me pursue. They only saw it as a prestigious career, but for me it was the one thing I could be genuinely passionate about. Between their strict study regimen and my passion, I didn't even mind being so isolated. As a result, my grades were good enough that I qualified for St. Hammond's General Hospital apprenticeship program. So, at age 19, I got my wish. I finally got to leave home and into the career I always wanted. Wait, so she's 24, right? If around her 20s she got the kid, and the kid is 5 years old, then she's in her mid-20s. But I think we already knew that. It's just dumb. Also, it might actually be getting wider every CG if this is anything to go off. Because look at that fucking arm, man. When I finally got home and finally got to leave home and into the career I always wanted. Moving out from under their thumbs was the happiest day of my life. I thought I could truly start to live my life. Didn't even know how naive I really was. Which is when I met the man that was supposed to be my mentor, Malcolm's father. Then a Dr. Denovian, Wait, what? He isn't a doctor anymore? I felt like he'd still be a doctor. From the moment he saw me, he must have known how easy it'd be. It was all charms at first. Full of, you're beautiful at this, and I love you that. I fell for him immediately. I believed every word he said. I thought he loved me. It wasn't long before he convinced me to take our relationship to make our relationship a sexual one. What is going on with your shoulder's a fucking right angle, lady? Garrett leaned the force gripped my hand with tightened painfully. Oh man, my hand hurts. That's how he looks. He's like, oh man, my hand hurts. Because he's looking down at his hand. It took a bit of effort not to flinch a response. Always promising to take care of me, and professing his love for me. Soon enough, I was pregnant. Why didn't you take birth control? He's a doctor! Like, he knows how sex works, right? He would at least make you take contraceptives, or at least wear a condom or something, right? After I was sure, I went to him expecting to take responsibility like he said he would. I had a stupid idea that he would marry me. I love that we're going with this extremely classic story of, oh no, he made me pregnant and he loved me and now we're married. And it's going with like, no, this prick only cared about his career. He didn't, of course. Instead, he told me to abort the baby and that'll be the end of it. He was so dismissive about it, like he was telling me to fetch the mail or throw away old clothes. The idea was just so repugnant to me. He could talk about killing our baby so casually. I mean, it hadn't born at the time, and honestly, I'm not exactly all that, life begins at conception either, so... Wynn, goddammit, now's not the time! Women, all about politics, am I right? God damn it, Wynn! What did I tell you? But I get what she means, especially in hindsight, right? Because Malcolm's a cute kid. So it's like, in hindsight, it's even worse. When it gets everything I believed in. I mean, I thought your parents were Asian. What? Well, I mean, with everything and how you were raised, I kind of thought your parents were Asian, and you were like, what, Shinto? What? So for the first time since we met, I told him no. And of course he freaked out because he needs control! Tears began to flow freely, and her voice grew strained as she tried to remember what came next. I begged and pleaded with him to reconsider, to accept that I loved him and the baby was a blessing. And that's when the real Dr. Kevorkian came out. He just started ranting, shouting, and spouting out words filled with such hatred I couldn't believe it was the same man. He told me I wasn't the only girl he was with. Just one of a dozen whores he'd known. Why don't we emphasize whore? Put whores in italics, because I really feel like that's the part that should shake her a little. But I was the only one stupid enough not to do what he said. He threatened to ruin me if I didn't comply, tear down my whole life. So is Xander just in the hobby of helping people who need to hide? He threatened to do everything just short of killing me. But somehow I held firm. I don't know how, but I kept denying him. And then he made good on his threat. Before I knew it, my reputation had been ruined, and I was kicked out of the grounds for violating ethical practices. Just because I ate a man's dog! I never even had a chance to defend myself. Even if I did, it was my word against his. I tried going home, hoping my parents would understand, but he had written a poisoned letter to my parents, painting me as a Jezebel that whored herself out for grades. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Jezebel. You're gonna have to explain that, sorry. Me arriving at the door pregnant was all the evidence they needed to slam the door in my face. To disown me. Claudia went silent for a time. I was wondering why her parents never showed up in the story, but there we go. I could do anything. Watch as tears roll down her cheeks. But eventually, she wiped them all away and pulled herself close to me. Dude, what the fuck happened to her head? She was holding on to me so tightly that my hand and arm began to hurt, but I bore with it. I'm going to suffer problems, lady. It was clear that she was using me as a comforting presence while she relived her trauma. I started walking then. I don't know how long it was before I arrived at the mission, church, but I can't remember exactly what it was. I stayed there for a week. All that time was a blur. I remembered that I did think about aborting Malcolm then. I was at such a low point. I thought, if I just got rid of him and I went back to Dr. Denovin, everything could be fine again. But that's when Minnie found me. She saw the state I was in and talked to me. I told her what happened, and she brought me to St. Sadler's. And then I met Father Xander. Minnie gave me a job. Father Santa gave me a home, and I went through with the birth here in the sanctuary. Wait, what, really? Woman, go to a hospital! Oh, no, wait, that's where he works. Oh, yeah, that's where he works, so that's why. I'm sorry. Sorry, I know I'm interrupting your little speech a lot, lady, but you're gonna have to bear with me. I'm just glad you're not narrating everything at this moment. Yes, really. It was a week before Christmas, just a week after my own birthday. I remember holding him for the first time. His little body, his hands wrapping around my fingers. Your head looks so huge, woman. Like, I know that's normal, but something about the way the scene is framed just kind of makes Wynn look kind of teeny. Like, Wynn looks so small all of a sudden, despite his broad shoulders and chest. Made all the suffering feel small in comparison. It was all worth it. All of it. For him. But Dr. Denovian found out where I live. About Malcolm. I don't know how, but he did. Ever since he tortured me with those calls. Reminding me of how dirty I am. Okay, can we stop for like 5 seconds? Why isn't Dr. Denovian dirty? Why is it that a man gets to sleep with women and it's fine, but a woman sleeps with a man fucking once, and she gets called dirty and everyone shits on her? This is patriarchy, you fuckers! Anyway, reminding me of how dirty I am. You know the rest, and after you left, I got another call from him. While I was standing there, just letting him turn to me, I realized you were right. I've been so terrified of him. Terrified he'd take my son away from me. Terrified that he's right about me. I mean, he's not. Thank you. It's for later. With some heavy breaths to compose herself, she lets out a small laugh of relief. God, it feels good to find that all out. Thank you, Wynn. I'm happy to oblige. Oh my God, I just realized how hard I've been squeezing your hand. No, don't worry, it's a robotic prosthetic anyway. She apologetically alleviates the pressure, followed by a chorus of pops from the appendage. Are you okay? I didn't hurt you, did I? No, I'm fine. Probably. On hearing my confirmation that she didn't break anything, she eased back into a tight hug at my side. We remained sitting together, arms interlinked. Oh, he's blushing again. We sat again quietly, enjoying each other's presence for a time. Although eventually I did feel the need to ask a question. How did Malcolm respond to all this? He must have had questions. I told him you were staying at the church for a while to help Father Xander. I don't think he believed me, but he did raise a fun. Stop lying! Everyone is lying all the time! What's for later, buddy? Tell me what's for later. Is it dinner? He must have picked up on how broken up I was after I told you to get out. Every day after that, he'd ask us, is anyone coming back today? I must have realized, I realized almost immediately I wasn't angry at you anymore. I just wanted you back myself. But every day I told him, not yet. Why? A small snort of laugh escapes her snout. Well, Wynn, I may love you, but I figured you still deserve to be grounded for a bit for going through my things. I suppose I deserved some kind of punishment. Wait, did she say she loved me? Past tense, woman? It's present tense, or I'm out! Oh, yeah, the show... you know what? We can look that up. When a man says, no, woman, you didn't hurt my hands at all, and his hands... didn't hurt at all! I'm fine. Did she just say she loved... Wait, sorry, this is the detective voice. Did she just say she loved me? I suddenly felt soft hand grab either side of me and pull me towards Claudia. No! Don't kiss! No! The mini route is off, as is the Father Xander route, as is the Alfonsi route. All the routes are gone. Damn it. Even the fucking, like, Tiffany's mom route is out. You could have been a home wrecker, Wynn! Before I knew what was happening. Oh my God, that's so fucking awkward! Why is this fucking save sanctuary song playing? Why do I go to save my... Thank you so much for to save my game. Oh my fucking god, look at him! A pair of scaly and even imaginably soft lips are pressed against mine. And a lot of thoughts came to an abrupt halt. Date Denovian to do the same thing he did to Claudia. I'm time to turn this patriarchy on its head, Claudia. I'm sorry, Wynn, what are you talking about? I'm gonna make Denovian gay and then date him. And then I'll have sex and make him empreg. And once he's empreg, I can break up with him and call him dirty and get his reputation ruined. Wynn, I don't know what you mean with empreg, but this... What? You know, I prefer the narration you had before you started trying to help me. Minnie, how many prayers to the Lord is it to get a man empreg? And she's just like, listen, I read a lot of fan fiction and stuff, but I gotta tell you, there's not enough prayers in the world for what you're trying to do here, Buster. Man, look at his eyes. They were instead replaced by the warm, tingling sensation that was spreading throughout my body. Tragically, her lips pulled away, but they certainly left an impression on me as I sat completely stupefied. Well, I think it's time to get you back home. Don't you think? It took me a moment to remember how to speak. Oh, that's a great way to fucking phrase it. Even still, it wasn't the most complex statement. Yeah! Look at the little cutie! Don't you just want to give him pat-pats? Don't you just give him little pat-pats? Here I thought that holding hands and hugging was nice. Man, he's going to fucking die when he has sex. They're gonna have sex and his brain just melts into goo. I can't imagine she wants to have sex. I feel like if any character be asexual, it'd probably be the person who had a sexual relationship and it was the most miserable part of her life. And she forever associates it with potentially aborting her child. Together we strode out of the sanctuary and into the lounge where we gathered my things. I'm not saying she has to, I'm just saying that it's a path you can take and it logically adds up. And after a week, I finally went home. Later that evening... apparently... Okay, so... Oh, Jesus Christ, it's all these fucking... So this is where they meet up, but there is a slight deviation still. My fucking god.